Look, I almost didn't make this video. These dreams are so rare, we're talking about 1% of people, that I figured most of you wouldn't relate. You'd click away after 2 minutes. But then I thought, you know what? It's not like my other videos are breaking the internet either. So why not talk about something genuinely fascinating, even if it's niche? And honestly, if even a handful of you have experienced this, I want to hear about it. Because this phenomenon is absolutely wild, and the people who experience it often think they're alone in it. So here we go. There's a kind of dream that only 1% of people will ever experience. And if you're one of them, you already know something is different. Close your eyes for a moment. Think about last night. Do you remember your dreams? Most people wake up with fragments, fleeting images, a face they can't quite place, a feeling that evaporates like morning mist. But there are others, a rare few, people who don't just dream, they live. They close their eyes and enter worlds with their own physics, their own histories, characters so vivid they could walk off the screen of a Hollywood production, stories that unfold across nights, weeks, sometimes years. Tonight, we're exploring a phenomenon that exists at the very edge of human consciousness, a place where the sleeping mind becomes something more. What if the world you're dreaming is as real as the one you're living in? Let's start with a question. What makes a dream feel real? For most of us, dreams are disjointed. We're in our childhood home, then suddenly at work. Our friend morphs into a stranger. The laws of physics are suggestions at best. But for approximately 1% of the population, dreams operate under different rules entirely. These aren't typical dreams. They're what researchers call epic dreams or cinematic dreams. And the people who experience them describe something that sounds impossible. There's someone who has been visiting the same city for 12 years. They know the street names, the subway system. The mayor died last year in their dream time, and they held an election. Another person witnesses a war happening in their dreams. They're not fighting it, but they see the consequences. Refugees, political tensions. The conflict has been ongoing since 2019 in their dream world. Others have relationships with people who don't exist. They've shared years together, conversations, inside jokes. When they wake up, they genuinely miss them. These aren't fantasies. They're not daydreams or creative writing exercises. These are spontaneous, immersive experiences that happen during REM sleep. And they share some remarkable characteristics. First, consistency. The world follows its own internal logic. Buildings stay in the same place. Characters maintain their personalities. Time progresses forward. Second, complexity. These dreams have plots worthy of novels, political intrigue, character development, subplots that weave together. Third, emotional depth. The dreamer doesn't just observe, they feel. Joy, heartbreak, fear, love, all as intense as waking life. And fourth, perhaps most strangely, continuation. The dream doesn't end when you wake up. You return the next night, or weeks later, and the story has progressed, as if the world kept going without you. And listen, if you've experienced dreams like this, I need to hear from you. Seriously, drop a comment below. Tell me about your dream world. Do you have a recurring city? Characters you've known for years? A storyline that's been running since you were a kid? I'm building this comment section into a space where people who experience this can finally talk to others who get it. Because most people in your life probably think you're exaggerating or making it up. But here, we understand. This is your community. So share your story. Let's find each other. Here's the quick science before we move on. During REM sleep, your visual cortex and emotional centers fire intensely while your logic centers shut down. That's why normal dreams feel chaotic. But people who experience epic dreams seem to have partial activation in their prefrontal cortex. just enough to maintain narrative coherence without becoming fully lucid. Their brains treat these dream worlds as seriously as real memories, building genuine neural pathways for fictional places and people. The greatest ideas in human history didn't come from thinking. They came from dreaming. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Throughout history, some of humanity's most groundbreaking creative works haven't come from conscious thought. They've come from dreams. In 1816, Mary Shelley was staying at a villa on Lake Geneva during a dark, stormy summer. She and her companions were telling ghost stories to pass the time. That night, she had a waking dream, a vision so vivid and complete that she saw the entire scene of a creature coming to life, watched by its horrified creator. She woke up terrified, grabbed her pen, and began writing. That vision became Frankenstein, one of the most influential novels ever written. But here's what's remarkable. She didn't dream fragments that she then pieced together. She saw the scene, complete, fully formed, as if she'd watched a film. Elias Howe spent years trying to invent a functional sewing machine. The problem was the needle. He couldn't figure out where to put the eye. Then he had a nightmare. He was captured by cannibals who danced around him with spears. And as they thrust the spears at him, he noticed something. Each spear had an eye-shaped hole near its tip. He woke up, redesigned his needle with the eye at the point instead of the base, and created the modern sewing machine. Paul McCartney woke up one morning with a complete melody in his head. He went straight to the piano and played it, note for note, exactly as he'd heard it in his dream. He was convinced he must have accidentally stolen it from somewhere. It was too complete, too perfect to be original. He spent weeks asking people, "Do you recognize this? Have you heard this before?" Nobody had. That melody became Yesterday, one of the most covered songs in human history. But perhaps the most fascinating case is Robert Louis Stevenson. He claimed he had what he called little people in his dreams, characters who would act out stories for him night after night. He called them his brownies, and he said they were his collaborators. They would show him narratives while he slept. The strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde came from a dream his brownies showed him. He woke up, furiously wrote it down, and published it. So here's the question. Were these people experiencing epic dreams all along? Think about it. These weren't random, chaotic dreams. They were structured, coherent, complete. Mary Shelley saw a scene that became chapters. Stevenson had recurring characters who told him stories across multiple nights. King experienced full narrative arcs. What if the ability to have epic, cinematic dreams isn't just a curiosity? What if it's a gateway? A direct line to the subconscious mind's full creative potential? What if, when we sleep, we're not just processing the day's experiences, we're accessing something deeper? Some part of the mind that thinks in stories, in images, in complete worlds. And what if only some people have a clear enough channel to bring those visions back? These dreams don't just entertain you. They're trying to tell you something. For many people who experience them, epic dreams serve a deeper purpose. Psychologists have noted that epic dreams often emerge during periods of transition or stress. The dreamer's mind creates an elaborate, metaphorical landscape to process complex emotions that are too overwhelming to face directly. One woman described a recurring dream city that slowly flooded over the course of a year. At first, it was just puddles in the streets. Then the lower floors of buildings. Then entire neighborhoods underwater. People evacuating. Boats replacing cars. The city transforming week by week, month by month. This happened during the same year her mother battled a terminal illness. The dream gave her a space to process grief in symbolic form, watching something she loved slowly slip away, adapting to loss in stages, learning to navigate a changed world. Another person described leading a revolution in their dream world. They weren't a revolutionary in waking life. They were quiet, conflict-averse. But in their dreams, they organized resistance movements, gave speeches, made hard decisions about tactics and strategy. This happened during the same period they were leaving an abusive relationship. The dream provided a safe space to explore themes of power, autonomy, and courage, to practice being strong, to imagine what fighting back looked like. A man reported dreams of building a city from scratch, laying foundations, designing systems, watching it grow from a settlement to a metropolis over years of dream time. This coincided with his recovery from addiction. The dream was his psyche's way of visualizing reconstruction, building something stable, sustainable, permanent from ruins. These dreams can also fulfill deep psychological needs that waking life doesn't satisfy. They provide adventure for those stuck in routine. The office worker who spends their nights exploring jungles and ancient ruins. The caretaker who becomes an explorer. The desk job that becomes a quest. They provide connection for those feeling isolated. Real relationships with dream people. Friendships that span years. Communities where the dreamer belongs. Some people report that their dream friends know them better than their waking friends do, because in dreams there's no pretense, no social masks. They provide control for those feeling powerless. In waking life, you might be at the mercy of circumstances, but in an epic dream, you're part of a story. You have agency. Your choices matter. Even if you're not lucid, even if you can't control the plot, you're in it. You're not passive. They provide possibility for those feeling trapped. The chronically ill person who runs marathons in their dreams. The person in a small town who rules kingdoms. The anxious person who becomes fearless. In a very real sense, epic dreams offer a parallel life. Not an escape from reality, but a complement to it. A space where the psyche can explore, experiment, and heal. Where you can be versions of yourself that waking life doesn't allow. Some people have described feeling genuine grief when a dream series ends. When characters die or worlds collapse. They wake up and feel like they've lost friends, lost homes. They're mourning something that was, in every way that matters to the brain, real. One person described the end of a 10-year dream saga where their dream world was destroyed. They woke up crying and felt sad for weeks. It sounds crazy, they said, but it felt like my entire childhood home burned down. Those people, that place, I'd known them longer than I'd known some of my real-life friends. Because to the brain, those memories are real. The neural pathways are identical. The emotions are genuine. The loss is profound. Now, we've talked about what these dreams are, how they work in the brain, their creative power, and their psychological purpose. But there's another layer to this, one that moves beyond neuroscience and psychology into something deeper, something philosophical. A question about the very nature of consciousness and reality itself. So bear with me here, because we're about to get a little existential. What if you're not having the dreams? What if the dreams are having you? This brings us to a profound question, one that philosophers have grappled with for centuries. What is real? If you spend 8 hours a day in the waking world and experience it consciously, and you spend 2 hours in a dream world and experience it just as consciously, which one is more real? The people in your dreams don't know their dream characters. To them, their world is all there is. They wake up in their beds, drink their coffee, live their lives. And to your dreaming self, in that moment, the dream world is all there is. You're not thinking, this is a dream. You're there, fully present, fully engaged. You have memories of both worlds, emotions from both worlds, experiences that shaped you in both worlds, lessons learned, relationships formed, growth that happened. If you met someone in a dream and had a conversation that changed your perspective on life, does it matter that they weren't real? The insight was real. The change in you was real. The memory is stored in the same brain structures as real memories. Some people who experience epic dreams describe a strange phenomenon. They're not sure which life is the real one. When they're awake, they miss their dream world. They think about the people there, wonder what's happening, long to go back. When they're dreaming, waking life feels distant, like a story someone once told them. They exist in two realities simultaneously, and the lines between them blur. There's a philosophical thought experiment called the brain in a vat. It asks, if your brain was in a vat, being fed electrical signals that created a perfect simulation of reality, how would you know? What's the difference between experiencing something and experiencing a perfect simulation of experiencing something? People with epic dreams live this thought experiment. They have two complete realities, two sets of experiences, two lives running parallel. And here's what's unsettling. There's no objective way to prove which one is more real. Both create memories, both produce emotions, both shape identity. Both feel utterly convincing while you're in them. Shakespeare wrote, "We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep." What if he meant that literally? What if consciousness isn't tied to physical reality? What if it's just experience, and the brain can generate experience anywhere? Some cultures have believed this for millennia. Indigenous Australian Dreamtime, Hindu Maya, Buddhist illusion of self. The idea that waking reality and dreaming reality are fundamentally the same kind of thing, just consciousness experiencing itself in different forms. What if epic dreamers are just more aware of this truth, more able to experience consciousness untethered from physical reality? What if we're all living in multiple realities simultaneously, but most of us only remember one clearly? So why does this happen to only 1% of people? Maybe it's genetic, a quirk of brain chemistry, random neural lottery. Or maybe it's something else. Maybe these dreams choose people who need them, who have questions too big for waking life to answer, who carry stories that need to be told, who possess something inside them that demands a larger canvas. Because the human mind is capable of so much more than we understand. And for some people, sleep isn't rest. It's where their real work begins. Most of us dream in fragments, glimpses of something our conscious mind can barely grasp. But for a rare few, dreams are something more. They're entire worlds with their own gravity, stories that unfold across years, lives that feel as real as the one they wake up to. They close their eyes and don't just fall asleep. They come home. Tonight, when you close your eyes, pay attention. You might be surprised what world is waiting for you.